Hi friends. Well, I've got a colorful harvest day going today. I've been out in the garden. I've been showing you the garden all year and I haven't shown you what grew in it. So this is what I picked today. And well, some of the tomatoes I picked a few days ago and let them ripen a little more, but they're doing real good. And now I'm going to be doing some canning with these again, and then I'll be adding some of these hot chili peppers to them and green bell peppers and spicing the tomatoes up a little bit in the jars, and that way when I make chili on a cold winter day, it'll warm my insides back up again. As long as I don't put too many on them and start myself on fire or something. So, well, I just thought I'd do a quick video here. It's kind of a fall day today. Things are cooling down. You can see the trees are starting to change, but haven't got a frost yet, but it's getting closer. So I'll just keep on harvesting here. So I hope everybody's having a good day. Hi friends. Well, now that I picked all these tomatoes, we're going to be doing some canning today. I'm not going to go into details here and show you how to can, but one of the main things to do first is to get all of your tools ready, because you never know what you might need while you're canning tomatoes. You know, you gotta have a flashlight just in case the power would fail. If air wants to get combed, I'm ready to brush them, and any other tough problems I run into, I've got my tools ready. Okay, I'm just being silly. I'm not gonna really use automotive tools to can tomatoes, but I just thought I'd throw a little humor in my video. One thing that is handy, I've got this knife that has a sharp edge on the back side, and it's curved forward, and that works great for taking the tops and coring the tomatoes, because of the way it's made backwards like that. And then I'll start right here. First we got tomatoes. Then we got this pot. I'll get the water boiling in it. Then I'll just throw the tomatoes in there. And then when they get going, then I'll throw them in there to cool them down. And then we'll stuff them in the jars here and keep on going. And it's always nice to have some relaxing water flowing in the background while you're doing your work too. So then now I'm going to actually put these tools away. I was just being funny. So then I'm going to get to work here and see how far I can get, and then I'll make another video once we get some progress going here. So hang on. Okay, we're moving right along here. I got the correct tools out here now, and I just started cutting up some of my ripe peppers here. These are mild ones, so they're not hot. And what I usually like to do is use the red ones when I put the ingredients in the jars, and then that way my tomatoes, it even adds a little more redness to the tomatoes after they're canned. And then here in this case I'm doing a small batch, only 5 bottles. So what I do is I pile my ingredients in like 5 different piles here, and in that way I can kind of keep the consistency the same in all the jars as far as the flavor and how spicy they are. And I always keep this banana here. No, just kidding. I was trying to be funny again. That was just in case I get hungry while I'm working here, but if I get hungry I just snack on some tomatoes. So okay, I'm going to get back to working here. I've got to find myself an onion and cut that up and see if I get all kinds of tears going here. So we'll be back in a minute. Boy, I've been working away on my onions here, and I forgot 2 additional things that you really should have, but I can't find a box of Kleenexes in the house. But this towel works real good for wiping your eyes when you're cutting up onions. Oh boy, that's a hot one. And then I sharpened my knife up, so things like a razor now. I might shave when I get done. Then I added my first aid kit to my list of tools here, so now I'm gonna be ready to really keep working here. So hang on, we'll see, get this onion cut up, and then I'll work on a hot pepper. Okay, now I'm working on the hot chili peppers here. Ooh, these things are looking really good. I'm kind of sticking with the real deep, nice color like this on this stuff, because you see, as I put them in the jars, and then once I put the tomatoes in and shake and mix it all up, that red will just bleed all in together and make a really nice color. I don't know how hot these are. I don't know how many of these I should put in there. Let me taste one of them and see. Whoo! Whoa, I better get some water here. That baby's hot. Hang on a minute while I get a drink. Then I'll be back to do some more. Okay, now I recovered from that hot pepper. Oh, Bear's coming here to check it out. He better not get into that hot pepper. He just likes to see what I'm doing. He's got to get in here and help. He was trying to eat some before. He actually does like the red bell peppers when they're ripe because they're sweet. I'm adding a green chili to it here just to add a little bit more color to the mix. I've got my 5 equal piles again, and I think that'll spice it up enough without being way too hot. And then I'm going to add my canning salt here before I forget, because I can go around and get busy and forget to put this in there. So I got to take and dig a little out here. Just get my tripod out. Well, this is really working so good. I just put a little bit in each one, not a whole lot. This is more challenging this way, I think, isn't it? Oh, there we go. Now that's probably a little bit too much, so I'm just gonna take a little in there, a little in there. It acts as flavor, but it also acts as a preservative. It helps extend the shelf life on the tomatoes. So anyway, I'm gonna keep doing that so I can get them all the same. And I'm gonna cut up these peppers and get them in a jar, and then we'll see what I'm gonna do next. Bet you it'll be good. Ooh, those peppers were hot. I went and got myself a fire extinguisher here to put the flames out. Well, actually, I've got that here in case my first aid kit catches on fire here. I can't even talk. I think that pepper burned my tongue. I think it'll be easier to move my first aid kit. Then I won't need the fire extinguisher. So hang on while I do that, and then we're going to get the water boiling here and show you how I skin the tomatoes. Okay, we got our water boiling here now. So next thing you do is you grab yourself a couple tomatoes, and I don't know, this looks like a good guy to start with, and you drop them in this boiling water. I'll just do 2 here so I can show you how quick and easy it is to get the skin off of them. Watch, it won't work this time. Just while we're doing that, I've got a few more things ready. I try to catch all my messes that I can. I learned that from Grandma, otherwise you got to clean it all off the floor. That's no fun. So then, oh, our water's boiling again. Let's go back over here. Now then I boil just for a little bit, and pretty soon they'll start popping. And then when they get about that long, you throw them in this cold water over here. Oh, I missed that one. And then they'll cool down, and then they'll be real easy to skin. So that's when we use my special knife here, and we have to go after them. But I need my other hand here, so hang on, I'm going to skin that guy. See, that went really fast, didn't it? And the skin comes off, you got yourself a real nice tomato there, and there's still a couple skins here. And all you got to do is find a jar you like and just drop them in there. And then we keep stuffing them in there and kind of mix them up a little bit when we get the onions and stuff mixed in. And we'll keep filling them up here. So that's going to take me a little while. And I got my water going, and so I'm going to keep busy here, so don't go away. Well, I'm still working away here. As I can these, I kind of take a little bit of this kind and some of that kind and some of this kind. And in the jars, then I'll put like a yellow one and different types in each jar. The different blend of the different variety of tomato gives a unique flavor to the canned product when you're done. It tastes really good. And yellow tomatoes are typically low in acid, so you really wouldn't want to do an entire jar in them because they would tend to turn brown and not keep as long on the shelf. But by mixing them together with the different varieties, I get my own special flavor in here. So it's kind of a science project here. So I better get back to work here and get these guys skinned. Okay, we've been at this for a little while here, and I've got one jar completely filled up here. Got a whole bunch more ready to skin here. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm gonna have to turn my burner down here, get caught up a little bit to get these guys skinned. But one trick I learned that's pretty handy, you take a regular knife and just slide it down inside of the jar. Make sure all the air bubbles are out. And kind of, you know, poke around with it and have a little fun while you're doing it. No, I just want to get the air bubbles out, and that way when you get your head space on the top here set at probably about where it is now, I might add just a little more liquid to that guy before I put the lid on. So I'm still working here. Just wanted to throw that in. I've been doing this a long time. We learned a lot of tricks from aunts and grandmas and moms and all kinds of people of the past. Taught me a lot about this, so I've been doing this a long time. So I kind of have fun with it. It's not an exact science. If you make it too difficult, then it's not fun anymore. So I'm going to get busy again, so hang on. Oh, Bear's back help me again. He heard me making noise here. So he wanted to come out and see what I was doing. Every once in a while when I come across one of the tomatoes that look particularly ripened on the vine and good, I'll take and save the seeds. I scrape them out into just a regular strainer like this, and then I run them under cold water and clean off all the extra, and then I'll spread them out over a plate and let them dry real good before I package them up. I have to clean these a little more yet before I could let them dry, but I just wanted to show you I kind of took a little side job there on. So I'm still filling up the jars. We're getting there. I got put some fresh water in my boiling pot here, so I'm going to get back to boiling again. So next time I turn the camera on, I'm hoping all these little boogers are going to be in the jar. So hang on. Wow, just like the magic of television, a genie came in here and cleaned up my mess. Actually, it's taking me longer to clean my mess up than the can of tomatoes. Anyhow, I have them all in the bottles now. And then the next step, I heat up the lids, and they have these little rubber edges on them that you can see, the red part there. So I get this real hot in here and boil it just a little bit to soften up that rubber and sterilize them. And then I just warm up the spinners here so they're easier to spin on nice when they're nice and wet and warm. And then eventually they'll end up in the kettle here. So kind of all I do is normally you pick these out with tongs, but I'm pretty tough, so this won't hurt too bad. See how red my hand is? It's from burning it all up. Then you just pick a spinner up and you put it on there and take both hands and tighten her up pretty much as tight as you can get it, unless you're like really strong, so you don't want to break anything. But you want to snug them up pretty good. And then that way when they boil, the steam will blow out past the seal. And then once the steam blows out past the seal, and then you take the bottles out and sit them on the counter to cool, it'll suck the lids down and make sure there's a tight vacuum inside of them. And that way you know all the germs and everything have been killed. Because due to the high acid content of tomatoes, botulism doesn't normally grow in them, and most germs will be killed by the time it reaches at 185 to the 212 degree boiling point of the water. So then once I get them all in here in this kettle, then I'm going to boil it on the stove for, I don't know, depends how much I feel like, but you should go at least 20 minutes. You can go up to a half an hour if you want to, and then that'll make sure that they're heated all the way through. When I cold pack them like this, I usually like to heat them just a little longer than if you boil them first and dump them in there when it's already hot. But then I burn my fingers and I make a bigger mess. Well, I'm going to get the lids on here, so don't fall asleep here. So hang on. Okay, now I got all the lids on, tightened up, then I've got the kettle full of water here, and it's just starting to boil. I can tell if I stick my finger in it, see it's hot. No, it isn't hot yet, I'm just being silly, but it sure will be in a few minutes here. So I got most of my mess cleaned up, saved a few tomatoes there, but I still have a whole bunch out sitting on a porch yet, so this is just step one. I probably can get another 5 or 10 quarts out of those. I don't really know yet. We'll see how ambitious I get, but I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of when I say I'm canning tomatoes of what I'm doing. So let's get these boiling here, and then after they cool down, we can see how many of them make it through. Excuse me. Some of them, sometimes the bottoms come out of them, but hopefully we won't lose any jars here. Hang on. Alrighty, we're boiling now. Yeah, we got steam coming out of here like crazy. So now they're cooking good, see? Get them in a nice rolling boil like that. And if everything goes right, they'll seal up real nice. So I'll keep them going here for about, now I got my timer set for 28 more minutes. And then I'll shut it off and then let them cool down for a while. Then we'll come back and take a look at what they look like. Boy, that sure was a fast 28 minutes. Well, now we're going to turn off the burner here And of course, get rid of this loud thing beeping at me here. And then they'll just let these sit here until they cool down. It'll probably take another, I don't know what it'll take, quite a while, probably half an hour more. Then I'll remove them from the kettle. Then we'll hope that none of them broke. And we'll see how they look. So I'll be back in a little bit. Well, they've been cooling down now for a while. I don't know, maybe a half an hour or so. So see how they look. See if any of them, oh no, they're all gone. Where'd they go? Okay, that's just me being silly again. I already removed them before I started the camera. And I used my gripper tool here so I could take them out, lift them out of the water, burning my hands. So it looks like they all turned out real good. None of the bottles broke, and I don't have large air pockets in them, so that's a good thing. And then once they cool down, these lids will pop down. They're already starting to come down, but they'll have to sit here a while. And then when they get back to room temperature or so, I'll carefully pick the jar up. Well, they're pretty hot now, and I'll shake them back and forth and mix up the onions and peppers in them, let them settle back down, and then I'll remove these spinners once the jar is, again, back to room temperature. And then that way, when I put them on the shelf for storage, the lids will stay tight due to the vacuum inside of it. And that way, if you ever would have a jar spoil, the jars don't explode because the lids just lift up and let the pressure out. I very seldom have jars go bad. But it also makes it a lot easier to get the spinner off, because once they sit on the shelf for 6 months, these things get really stuck on there, and you have to, so if you've got somebody really strong in your house that likes to arm wrestle with them, you can get them off, but it is a lot easier to remove them right away. So that's just kind of what I do to make tomatoes. It's a small batch, but it gives you an idea of what we do. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope you had fun watching it here. I had fun making the video, so I'll talk to you guys later.